Hello everyone. This is Chris Espanol again, and this is another day and another video of PixelHelp. Um, Today, I would like to try to help you, Antonio Caiuolo. I discovered by messaging him that is former paisano. He comes from the same place as I come from, Avellino. So yeah. Despite the fact he's from Avellino, he's having an issue with the resolution of different resolution of texture, let's say of texture in substance. Is facing an issue with these part of the geometry being very high res and this part being very low res. So after a couple of messages between him and also other people and me, looking at these UVs that were somewhere here, someone like asked him to show the UVs. It's pretty much, I think that the problem will be that the texel density between these part of the geometry and whatever it is, probably is a bench or whatever, is different. So I'm gonna open Maya and I'm gonna see how things are and how we can fix it or what we can do to prevent the issue to repeat again. So we're in Maya. I'm gonna open a scene and see how it looked like. So first thing I can say is that it gave me like a .mb file. There are two different ways you can save files in Maya. It's Maya binary.mb or Maya ASCII.ma. The difference between these two is that the MB file is smaller and more compressed, and it's fine. But especially when you want to share your file with someone, one big suggestion I can give you is that you can share the file as an MA file. It's going to be slightly bigger, depends on your scene, obviously. But the cool thing is that the Maya ASCII file is openable in a text editor. It's actually line of codes. But it's understandable. It's not those kind of like file that you open with text editor. You see only like weird kind of fonts. No, you actually see the code. You actually see what Maya is doing. The good things of having a Maya ASCII file is that if you don't have the same plugins, if you don't have the same version of Maya, whatever it is, you can still try to open it because you can eventually delete the line of code that is erroring. And these things you cannot do it with Maya, so with the binary. So if you save a Maya binary file and you share your file with someone else, and you have a specific plugins, even if you are not using it, but it's loading it and is inside your Maya binary, the person who will try to open it will run into trouble and will run into errors and will not gonna be able probably to open your file. While if you save as a Maya ASCII file, and I find that an error in the Maya ASCII file and Maya is not able to open it, I can copy that file, go into the Maya ASCII file, look for the specific plugin line code, delete that line code, and try to open it again. Many times you can successfully recover a file from someone else. So first things, save as a scene, and you're gonna save it as a Maya ASCII file. Another things I would like to suggest you is like, don't use like numbers like this. Use always kind of versioning. Don't use the caps in the end, the big A in the beginning. Try to use a more production ready naming convention. That's gonna help you in the long run. Okay, so let's save this. I'm gonna save it in my scene. Gonna do it here. I'm gonna do it like that. Another couple of things. The scene is quite messy. Don't take it personal, but I'm analyzing also not only the problem you're showing me, but I'm trying to help you. Not thousands, but 100 probably of different materials, and you're still in the modeling phase. I don't really, I mean, in the UV phase or whatever, I don't really see the needs of having these kind of many materials, especially nowadays that we have PBR workflow. Technically you could have one unique material for everything. I would not suggest to do this, but technically the PBR workflow, if you use Substance or if you use any other painting tools, any kind of render engine, the PBR workflow is meant to be used as a photorealistic based render and as a Uber shader that take the properties of the material, the physicality of the material from the texture, because you have a roughness, metalness map that drives your physical material. So you don't really need to have hundreds of material. What I suggest you is like dividing your asset mainly in macro categories of materials like plastics or wood or metals, whatever it is, but like all the metals in one thing, or you divide it by object. So the entire bench material, and you assign a thing. Do you have something like the metal arm or something like this? You divide it, you assign a material. You have this monitor, you want to do one monitor, you can do it. So again, these are like little suggestions that I'm giving you just to make your working process a bit more reliable. Again, also other thing is workbench should be like workbench underscore GRP, for instance, because it's a group, and all the geo inside should have like small caps, cables, underscore geo, for instance. So you should define everything like that. The reason why you do this is because imagine you want to have, you have this simple example here. This and this, they have the same name. You cannot have the same name. That's why this is called low one. If you call it Alma low, I will do it like that. And don't use Italian, use like, try to use English, is better for you, again, your process. And you call this one GRP. Now this one, you should call it, for instance, this is a layer. So you can call it Arma low layer. In this way, you are defining clearly your things. You are defining clearly if it's a group, if it's a geo, if it's a layer, whatever it is. If it's a material, call it underscore material, or an SHD like shader, whatever. But try to go into the good habit of creating things and giving things the proper names, so you're not gonna end up in troubles later on. Same things with the numbers. So this is not the case for this specific video. I don't want to lose too much time in this, but eventually I will suggest you, eventually I will do another video related to the proper naming convention, the proper approach to everything. Also, I can see you have sets that are like pretty useless because there seems to be all empty. I don't know why you have these things, but anyway, clean up a bit your scene because it's a bit messy. And also when you're gonna export this one inside Substance Painter, you can have problems. So try to be a bit more organized to do everything properly. And last but not least, these should be in the center of the scene. You should have the center of the pivot in the scene. That should be based on the base of your object. So this should be eventually centered, and you should lower it at the base of the object, and then these should go in the center of your scene. And the front should face the front of the scene. So you should go so this should be your asset. And again, the reason why you do this is because you can always use symmetry when you do the UVs and you want to export these to another software like, I don't know, UV layout. You're going to have it in the center of the scene. If you want to use symmetry inside Maya, you can always use it because majority of your assets seems to be symmetrical, and so on and so forth. So again, always try to be organized, because if this is your final scene, you shouldn't be doing like UVs now. It should be already done. And when you're calling about asset and you're doing UVs, you should not have the object like whatever in the scene. So the layout stage, or the how do I say, the staging, the staging stage of your scene should be done later on when everything is ready. And everything should be, again, starting from this workbench group should be there. You should done like the proper way, final turntable done, texture, everything, check and so on and so forth. And then when it's done, you put it in the position. And eventually you're gonna do it referencing your asset inside your layout scene. So maybe I'm saying too many things, maybe I'm saying things that are too complex, but I'm trying to give you like suggestion how to work in a much more production ready way, okay? So again, forgive me for all this. Going back to your problem, as I was expecting, I'm gonna close this one because I don't need the hypershade. As I was expecting, it's a problem of texel density. Let me show you, first of all, what I do usually to evaluate my asset and see things right away. So since I don't want to overwrite all your material, I usually use like a render layer to assign like an overall material to everything and check the UVs. I usually use the render layer, but legacy kind of render layer is much more simpler and faster. If you don't have these, you should go inside preferences and should be under layer, I think, or something like that. Don't remember exactly. Rendering, okay. Legacy render layer, because usually is a render setup. If you change to legacy render layer, it's gonna switch to this one, so you're gonna have a tab like the regular layer. If you change it, you're gonna ask you to restart Maya, so you're gonna start Maya, you're gonna have this. What I'm gonna do is like, I'm gonna create this one, select this one, add my object like it's a regular layer. And again, things named clear properly. This is render layer, so I'm gonna call it render layer. So this is workbench render layer. What I can do is like, I can assign an override, and I create a new material override with the Lambert. I don't care. And then if I go like inside this Lambert that I'm gonna find in my hypershade somewhere, let's say if I look for Lambert, what's gonna happen? Nothing. I need to check something like .lam. Nope, that doesn't work. Probably it's this one. And I'm gonna simply assign a texture that I usually use as a file, and I'm gonna take it, and this is the checker map that I usually use. So technically now I should have my material over there, and let's say I'm gonna repeat the UV something like 10 and 10, and if I activate it with 6 texture, yeah, I see my textures. So having these UVs assigned to it is gonna give you right away the feeling of your texel density. For whoever doesn't know what the texel density is the let's say the proportion between the texture resolution compared to the pixel size or to the actual geometry size. So it's a number that it can be calculated, can be read inside Maya, and can give you a real idea of the proportion. So watching at these UV map assign, you can right away see how many issue you have in this object. So let me also activate, I can do also the flat lighting, so it's going to be more visible. First of all, we have a lot of different kind of texel density. This is bigger, almost the double of this one. This is 4 or 5 times the resolution of this one. That's why you were having issue, Antonio, in your in Substance Painter, because this little piece adds more resolution. Probably it's in the UVs, it's half of the size of this entire bench. And same things with this monitor, all different kind of resolution, wobbliness everywhere. Look at this. Look how curved it's this surface. This is not an organic surface. This is an art surface model, okay? These should be, all these things should be like very flat, linear, and really are surfacey looking, okay? I can understand this one, some slight curvature, stuff like that, but these areas, absolutely not good. If you assign like whatever material, you're gonna have problem with this. This is absolutely nuts the way this is done. I don't know why these things are deforming in this way, but again, this is fairly bad. And also sometimes you have like UVs are going one direction, sometimes another. This is not necessarily a problem, but just keep in mind that this panel should be rotated under 80 degrees. You should have directionality. So always do this kind of test with your model when you've done it, because your UVs should be seamlessly same size. Other than if you have a very specific needs, and these objects, for instance, need to be a super close-up, and you know that a shot's gonna be like that you're gonna see this one in super high resolution, and then I can accept it if this one is higher than the other resolution. But in general, if this is considered one entire asset, then these should have all the same kind of texel density. So again, the reason why I created the render layer was just to not mess up with your UV assignment, with your material assignment, and to just like show this entire thing. So now what we can do about that? First of all, I think you should rework entirely these UVs, to be honest, to make them more R-surface looky and not have all this deformation where they're not supposed to happen. So going back to your object now, we can also eventually delete this one, but I'm not going to do it. What you can do is like right away check your texel density, for instance. There's one thing already that it's weird, that when I select one of your asset, it seems that we still have something in the UV space 0. That's pretty weird. It should never happen like that. Usually when you have an asset, and I don't know, this one is only because it was not selected, my bad. Anyway, as you can see, it's clear that this object, it's going in this direction. So I don't know what you did, why this is having this kind of wobbliness in your probably you use like an unfold UVs or something like that. But since this is like very flat and frontal, you can clearly use like a very simple UV projection from front. So I can go on my show UV toolkit. I can eventually touch them here. Sorry if I have like not that much space, but I usually use like the entire screen. But let me go create planar. If I click the shift, give me the chance to choose which one is the axis that I want to use to project. And then I can do a projection like this, and right away, this one should fix your issue. So if you now use scale your UVs, I'm gonna put it back slightly where it was before. But if we go back to this and we show again our bench, now this is fixed completely, okay? Because this is what I expect from, and anyway, we had already before the deformation inside the this kind of deformation inside these holes. So no one gonna go see inside the holes. So who cares? So for the very flat surface, honestly, planar projection, they do the trick majority of the time. You don't need to go like very specific from for doing like anything weird, but this already fixes your issue on this specific stuff. What I want to show you is the texel density tool that you have inside Maya. So I don't know if you know it, but there's a tool inside Maya that can give you the chance to read the texel density from an object. And you can see that now this is 40. Based on the map resolution of 2048, for instance, this is going to be obviously, get it? So this is a 40 pixel per unit, like you can see in Maya. And the problem is I want this to be the same everywhere. So what you can do is like, if you select all your object and you said that these need to be the resolution that you want for all your object, then you need to go there, select all your object and set the same number. Let's say you want roughly, I don't know, 20. You're gonna see how bigger or smaller your asset will become. So if I change this one from one number to another, you're gonna see, you see how they change? So now I have more pixel per unit because I want more resolution. Problem is your original one is 1/3 of what it was before, or what is your other asset. So the problem is, going back to your problem, is that you said that you don't want to split the bench. This is the max you can reach for your bench because probably you have, this one is your bigger piece and you don't know what to do with it. You have two options. You split your model even more, so you cut it in whatever, like all your half of your object need to be cutted in one way to split it and have more resolution. If for whatever reason you want this to be a continuous surface and you don't want to split the geometry and all the geometry, the bigger geometry in the same way, you can do it. But you need to set this one as the basic resolution because it's, let's say, around 15.5, because I like round numbers. Don't ask me why. I'm a bit of a maniac. But yeah, let's say that this is like, oh, this was 17, that's why. 17.5 set. Okay, this should be like, okay, what you can do is like go and select all your object and set a 17.5 resolution for all your texel density. So technically these should fix the issue because you're gonna have like much bigger things, but probably right now you will have much more space than before. So you need to relay out your stuff. But if you look at that right now, and if you go back to your UVs, this doesn't fix anything. Nice. Probably didn't take it into consideration because I didn't select all of them. So let me select all of them and let's set this resolution, and now it's calculating. So before it didn't do anything because I didn't select the UVs. Sorry about that. So now that I've applied the same texel density to everything, you should have something looking like pretty much like this. So everything seems to be sort of okay. Sometimes you can have object that can errors while you try to do all together. There can be problem with the mesh. There can be whatever reason. So maybe you need to go on top of the object, reassign again the same density. I found also an object that is pretty resistant to whatever things I'm trying to do with it. So as you can see, there are like these areas that are like not working as expected. And even if I try to do like an automatic UVs, it ended up like failing and not doing anything. So I can try to fix this. The things that I come to my mind is that there's something wrong with the object for whatever reason. I don't know if it's imported, if it's modeled, or whatever. It's the reason why this is not working as expected. There can be multiple reasons why this happened. One way to solve the issue could be, it doesn't mean that it's going to work, could be export the object as an OBJ with no information whatsoever on normals and stuff like that. So let's say I export this one, I disable all the channel in the history, I disable everything possible. Actually, this one is not an OBJ, it was an FBX. So if I want to export as an OBJ, I go there, disable everything, disable all the groups. So I just want to purely export the model itself. So I always like export things in the data because I don't like to mess up with things. I can delete this one and I can try to re-import the one that I did. So if I go into data, I will find my arm to fix and boom, it's not there. Nice. Or whatever, it's not, probably because it's not, I'm in the group. Yeah, I was in the wrong group. Yeah, I can do an automatic UV, and now as you can see, it's working. Don't know why my UVs are like in the middle of nowhere, but I can try to bring the projection over here if Maya will be with me. Okay. Something like this. Let's try to move it in the proper way. front view. So now my arm issue is fixed because I reprojected the UVs, blah, blah, blah. I rotated with the proper axis. And as you can see, I've also scaled it in the proper way with the same texel density. Now the problem is that if I select all the object, everything is different size and the layout is all screwed. So what you can do is like using the layout, shift click with the layout option, you can set it up everything you want. So reset settings. Spoiler alert, I don't like the way Maya works with the layouting. It doesn't work properly. It's very bad, especially when you are in this situation when you have different texel density and want to fix it. I personally don't know if there's a way to make it work. I will show you what I mean. So let's say that I want to use the same kind of layout that I was using before. So 4x2, for instance, and I do by default, I apply, and this will happen. So yeah, beautiful. It's aligning everything. But look at that. It's like, if you look at again, the UVs, they are all screwed again. So let's go back. Let's try another option. So don't try to preserve the UV ratio. And same thing. So no, it doesn't work either. So let's disable the preserving option. Let's do the apply. And now it did something different, but again, it screwed up our UVs. Honestly, I don't know if there's a way to do it in a proper way using the automatic tools from Maya, because it doesn't seem to be able to take whatever is your actual texel density right now and realign everything like it's supposed to be and just packing it. I usually use UV layout. I'm not going to show you right now because it's going to become like too long, this video. But the point is, what I can suggest you, Antonio, to do is, or whoever is looking at this one, is go by object or series of objects, lay out them in a proper way, and check the texel density that it's roughly in the same range of. If one is 17, the other one can be 15, but not 17 and 40. Not 3 times. Can be a slight difference, and then you're not gonna notice any difference in in Substance Painter later on or whatever painter tool. But since you have to fix a lot of your UVs, I strongly suggest you to reconsider the way you're splitting the UVs, the way you're splitting your materials. Make much more sense. The less is better. The less is more, like the saying in America. So try to clean up everything here. Try to make it a bit more our surface friendly, your UVs, and then after that pack it in a proper way. It's gonna be a lot of manual job. I think that UV layout would do it like quite better in a pretty much automatic way. There's also Rizoma UVs out there that it's pretty good also in packing. I don't use it much, but I know it's there. I mean, like, the point is, texel density was your issue. However you want to fix it, however you try to fix it, that's another story. But yeah, that's how you should work, and you should have something like this in the end. And if you export this one to Substance Painter, probably you're not gonna have your problem anymore. Okay. Sorry it was like longer than expected, but I hope you will find this useful. And if you like video like this, please subscribe, comment below, and let me know in what I can help you with. So yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Ciao.